I always thought my marriage was solid. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but I believed in the vows we took. My sister, Mia, was my best friend growing up. We shared secrets, clothes, and dreams. But after I married Daniel, she started coming around a lot more than I expected. At first, I thought it was sweet, the two people I loved most getting along. They'd laugh together in the kitchen, exchange knowing glances, even text each other inside jokes. I told myself it was harmless. But lately, something felt off. Daniel was more distant with me, yet oddly animated when Mia was around. She started wearing tighter clothes to just hang out at our place, and I caught them whispering when they thought I wasn't listening. One evening, after a long day at work, I came home earlier than planned. The house was quiet, too quiet. As I walked toward our bedroom, I heard muffled voices and the faint creak of the bed. My stomach twisted. When I opened the door, there they were. Daniel and Mia. In my bed. Mia didn't gasp, didn't apologize. She just smirked, like she'd won some game I didn't know I was playing. But I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Instead, I calmly said, "I just sent your video." Her smirk faltered. And in that instant, the tables turned. The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel froze, his face draining of color, while Mia's smirk melted into a look of panic. What video?" she stammered, her voice suddenly small. I stepped into the room, my phone still in my hand. "The one I recorded 5 minutes ago," I said calmly, locking eyes with her. "The one I just sent to your boyfriend and Mom." Mia's mouth opened, but no words came out. She scrambled to pull the sheets around herself, as if modesty mattered now. Daniel swung his legs off the bed, his voice shaking. "Wait, you don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I cut him off. "I've been suspecting this for months." So I set up a motion-activated camera in our bedroom. I turned the screen toward them, letting them see the frozen image of the two of them tangled together. Mia's hands flew to her mouth. You wouldn't." "Oh, I already did," I said, my voice cold. "I sent it to your boyfriend. And to Mom. And in about 2 minutes, he'll probably be calling you." Daniel looked between us like a trapped animal. "This is crazy. We can talk about this." But before he could finish, Mia's phone buzzed violently on the nightstand. She picked it up, her hands trembling. And when she answered, the first words I heard on speaker were, "Mia, what the hell is this?" Mia's face went ghost white. Her boyfriend's voice was like a blade, each word slicing through her fake composure. "I can explain," she started, but he cut her off. "Explain? You're in bed with your sister's husband. Do you know how disgusting that is?" She glanced at Daniel for support, but he was too busy running his hands through his hair, muttering curses under his breath. I folded my arms, letting the silence linger just long enough to make them squirm. "You two deserve each other," I said. "And now everyone knows exactly who you are." Mia's boyfriend hung up with a string of insults, leaving her staring at the black screen. Then her phone buzzed again. "Mom." "Answer it," I said sharply. Mia hesitated but picked up. Mom's voice came through, trembling with fury. "Is it true? Please tell me this isn't real, Mia." I could hear the muffled sob in Mom's tone. My chest ached, but I didn't waver. "She doesn't need to tell you, Mom," I said loudly enough for her to hear. "You saw the video. It's exactly what it looks like." Mia broke down crying, trying to spin it. "It's not what you think," but Mom wasn't having it. "Get out of her house. Now." Daniel finally looked at me, his eyes pleading. "We can fix this, we can." I laughed bitterly. "You really think this is fixable?" Because I had one more surprise he didn't know about yet. I reached into my bag and pulled out a plain white envelope. Daniel's brow furrowed, he clearly had no idea what was inside. This, I said, waving it slightly, is a copy of the divorce papers I filed last week. You'll be served officially tomorrow, but I wanted you to see them first. Daniel's face drained of color. You already? Oh yes, I interrupted. And guess what? Since you were too busy rolling around with my sister, you missed the little clause about infidelity. Mia's sobs turned into muffled curses. You're such a drama queen, she spat, wiping her eyes. It's just sex. Get over it. I stepped closer, my voice cold and sharp. You destroyed our marriage, humiliated me, and involved my own family. I'm not getting over it, I'm making sure you both pay for it. Daniel opened his mouth to protest, but I tossed the envelope at him. It landed in his lap like a final verdict. Oh, I added, almost casually, and by the way, the video? It's already on a private link that only our family and your colleagues have access to. They should be seeing it, right about now. The way his jaw dropped was almost satisfying enough. Almost. Daniel's phone started buzzing violently on the nightstand. 1 call. 2 calls. Then a flood of message notifications. His hands shook as he grabbed it. The screen lit up with names he couldn't ignore, his boss, his best friend, his own mother. He swiped to read one of the texts, and I caught a glimpse. What the hell, Daniel? Is this you? Mia was panicking now, pulling the sheets around her like they could shield her from reality. You didn't, you wouldn't. I folded my arms, a calm smile on my face. You smirked when you saw me. You thought you had all the power. Now you're realizing you don't. Daniel's boss kept calling. Mia's phone started buzzing too. The group chat with our extended family was exploding with shocked messages. This is career-ending. Daniel finally yelled, his voice cracking. You've ruined me. I tilted my head. No, Daniel. You ruined yourself. I just made sure everyone saw the truth. And then, for the first time that night, he looked like he understood exactly what he had lost, not just me, but his reputation, his job, and every shred of control he once thought he had over me. Mia lunged toward me, her face twisted with rage. Delete it. You can't do this to family. I stepped back, my phone still in my hand, my voice as cold as ice. You stopped being family the moment you crawled into bed with my husband. Her bravado cracked. She glanced at Daniel, who was now pacing, pulling at his hair. Do something, she screamed at him. What do you want me to do? He snapped, his voice breaking. It's over. Everything's over. I slipped my phone into my pocket. Oh, we're just getting started. I'll be sending this to the divorce attorney in the morning. Might make the settlement a little more interesting. Daniel froze mid-step. You wouldn't. Test. Tomorrow, I'd walk out of this house for good. But tonight, I let them sit there in their shame, knowing the world now knew exactly who they were. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even want to. I sat in the living room, the faint hum of the refrigerator the only sound breaking the silence. Every so often, I'd hear muffled voices upstairs, Daniel and Mia arguing, blaming each other. It was almost therapeutic. By morning, I had already emailed the video to my attorney, along with a detailed statement. I knew the footage would destroy any leverage Daniel thought he had in the divorce. When I walked into the kitchen to grab coffee, Mia appeared in the doorway, her hair a tangled mess, eyes red from crying. You've ruined us, she said bitterly. I raised my coffee cup. No. You ruined yourselves. I just made sure there was proof. Daniel never came down. Later, I found out he'd packed a bag and left before sunrise, probably to avoid facing me. Mia lingered for another hour, shooting daggers at me before finally slamming the door behind her. The house was quiet, too quiet. But instead of loneliness, I felt relief. My phone buzzed. It was a reply from my attorney, this changes everything. Expect a quick and favorable settlement. For the first time in a long time, I smiled without forcing it. The betrayal still hurt, but knowing they wouldn't walk away unscathed? That was the sweetest closure I could have asked for. The settlement process moved faster than I ever imagined. Within 2 weeks, Daniel's lawyer, clearly aware that the video would destroy him in court, proposed terms that were far better than I'd dared hope for. I'd keep the house, most of our savings, and there would be no drawn-out battle. When I signed the papers, I felt like I was finally exhaling after holding my breath for years. Mia, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. Her reputation in our small community was in tatters. Word spread quickly, not because I told anyone directly, but because people talk, and the truth has a way of seeping out. One afternoon, while I was planting flowers in my front yard, a neighbor walked by. She gave me a knowing smile and said, "I heard you stood up for yourself." "Good for you." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Inside, my phone pinged with a message from an unknown number. It was Mia. Just 2 words, "I hate you." I stared at it for a moment, then deleted it without replying. That chapter was over. And as the sun set that evening, I realized something. I wasn't just free from Daniel. I was free from both of them. A few months later, my life felt quiet, peaceful. I'd redecorated the bedroom, replaced the bed entirely. I couldn't stand the thought of it being the same one they'd shared behind my back. The walls, once a dull beige, were now a warm, calming sage green. I started going out more, brunch with friends, weekend trips, even joining a pottery class. People told me I seemed lighter, like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. And they were right. Then one day, I was scrolling through social media when a suggested post made my stomach twist, a blurry photo of Mia at a bar, sitting alone, looking worn out. The comments beneath weren't kind. It wasn't joy I felt, exactly, but there was a strange sense of balance. Actions have consequences, and hers had finally caught up with her. As for Daniel, I heard he'd moved to a small apartment in the next town over. Rumor had it, he was already trying to charm someone new. I almost felt sorry for her, almost. But then, I'd remember the smirk. That smug, taunting expression she'd worn when she thought she had one. And I'd remember the exact moment that smirk vanished. A few weeks later, I was walking down the street after grabbing coffee when I saw them, Daniel and Mia. They were together, but not how I remembered. He looked tired, unshaven, and irritated. She clung to his arm, but there was no smugness left, no fire in her eyes. I don't think they saw me at first. I could have walked away, but instead, I stepped forward and said, "Smile for the camera." Daniel froze. Mia's face went pale. "You remember," I continued, voice calm but sharp, "that one video? The one that ruined you both?" "Yeah, I still have copies. Lots of them." I didn't actually plan to use them again, I'd already gotten my closure, but watching them squirm in public was satisfying. They turned and hurried off without another word. I took a sip of my coffee, the sun warm on my face. For the first time in months, I realized I didn't feel angry anymore. Just free. They had tried to break me. Instead, I'd written the ending to our story, and I made sure I was the one who walked away smiling.